What's up, Brooklanders? I am Jay, and this is Kay.
Hello.
Today, hooray, we are doing a James Gunn ranking all of his films, the superhero films. We're not talking about Slither. We'll go five,
let's just do five.
5, 3, 2, 4, 1.
No, it's
Back to my 5.
I'm taking notes.
Yeah,
I'm
there
like,
you go. Just, it's a whole math problem. Then we'll rank Hancock.
My 5 is Superman. I think that people are gonna say that I'm too critical on it because it just came out, and therefore I am underrating it.
Yeah.
So people are a little bit of a recency bias, but I do think it is not going to James Gunn's like what he's good at. I think that what James Gunn is really good at, and this is gonna be through my list the whole time, he's really good at taking D-list characters and making them household names that like people are drawn to and they're really good at. Superman is like the worst example to like think of because
Right.
he's the prototypical Superman or superhero. I think that he does nail Superman, right? Like he gets the
Pause.
well, not what I meant. But yeah, I do think that Gunn actually understands who Superman is, like hopeful, kind, human, like making that a very big priority.
Right.
I think that because of that, he goes out of his way to address the like Invincible Homelander comparison, where
Yeah.
he is essentially evil. Like his parents sent him on an evil mission, and he rejects that outright. And so now we never have to really deal with that idea.
Right.
So yeah, it's like a B on my scale, and that's still really good. It's just Gunn's average is like super high.
Yeah. There's a lot of, I think, filmmakers where Superman is like the best movie in their filmography.
Yes.
100%. I think there's really only one other option for his worst comic movie, and I'm going Guardians 2.
Yeah.
With
No,
that.
that's fair. That's my fault.
Yeah, 100%. So what do you think makes Guardians 2 better than Superman?
It has a certain level of sauce.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it. It's the music, it's the artistic
The
direction,
music, for sure,
and like
for sure.
the way that it's not cookie cutter. Like it's so different and distinct than every other thing in the MCU. In Guardians 2, you still have the great soundtrack,
Yeah.
and you still like feel better coming out of it. Where Superman, you still feel better coming out of it, but it's just not unique. It's not like different.
For me, one of my big critiques with Guardians 2 is ask me to name some scenes from Guardians 2. I'm naming like Yondu escaping with Rocket.
I'm Mary Poppins, Joe. That's like one of the best quotes in that whole trilogy.
That's true. That's true. And I do love, I was just telling him off camera, I'm an Ego apologist. I love
Ego's
Ego.
great.
All the stuff with like Ego and Star-Lord, 100%. I do think, and you could make the argument that like every kind of Guardian has their movie. Because I'm like, I think, especially Groot, a little pointless in Guardians 2. I think Rocket...
That's not his fault. That's Marvel's fault.
I think Rocket gets a little sidetracked in Guardians 2, which is fair. It's fine, because obviously Guardians 3 is his movie. And I feel like Guardians 2, for me, gets a little too much to like, okay, Star-Lord needs to have his thing with Ego, and like everyone else kind of like just linger around until it's time for everyone to figure out. Superman, recency bias, 100%. I saw it a week ago. I can name like scenes in Superman. I don't know if I'm saying Lex Luthor is better than Ego. I don't think so. What do you think?
He can be, yeah.
I think he's great. I see.
Okay, can I say something about Lex Luthor really quick?
No, you can't. I would. Okay.
That the fact that they cast Lex Luthor as somebody who was a Superman like audition tape reject is the most meta, coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And you could see it in his performance. He wants to be Superman so bad,
Yeah.
and that is the core of Lex Luthor, and I love that part. You could say that he's a better villain than Ego. Doesn't really change my take on the movies.
I'd have to think about it, dude. Even that, I'm not sure. I'm not sold on that take of him being better than Ego. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. Guardians 2 is also strange in the sense of like, I think it does feel a little like directionless.
Yes.
In that middle portion of the movie, because you're like, okay, the bad guys are gone, and like we know Ego's the bad guy, but like maybe you don't know Ego's the bad guy, so it's kind of like, okay, are they just
Kind of hanging out that whole middle.
It's a lot of hanging out, and I do think the first half of Superman was, I think, the weak point for me. Second half kicks it in a lot, but like from the second half on. And there are good scenes in the first half. The interview scene, I think a lot of people say is phenomenal. Second half on, dude, just bangers, dude, in Superman. All right, any final thoughts? Go.
I think that we don't need as much Lois or Daily Planet as I think people
Really
liked. Yeah.
A lot of people. You wanted more.
I wanted more Lex.
You wanted more Jimmy Olsen.
No.
I think he was like okay, well, Jimmy Olsen, he's like, number 4 on the call sheet for Superman comics. We gotta have Jimmy Olsen in here. We gotta have Jimmy in here.
Yeah. But in a 2-hour movie where you only have a certain amount of time and like really each shot should matter, you really don't have time for stuff like that. In a show it could work, and that's where I think he does a really good job with Peacemaker. That's not on this list, but you get a flesh out where John Cena could sit there for 20 minutes just naming people and it's the best part of the show.
100%.
You can't do that in a movie.
Moving on, which I have as Guardians 3.
Oh, okay. I have the Suicide Squad at 3.
Okay.
I'm a big Guardians fan though. Like I think it's one of the best trilogies.
Yeah. And honestly, Guardians 3 and Suicide Squad are so close to me, dude.
I think that it is the perfect like ending to a trilogy that like I don't think we get endings anymore. Like Ragnarok's not an ending to a trilogy. Each character has like a really good start, and like the only person, like you said, like Rocket's the only one we don't get to see. We get such a good like deep dive into Rocket. It's truly like emotional, which is weird for a Gunn film.
Yeah.
They always make fun of your Rocket. Like, are you trying to push away everyone who loves you?
Yeah.
And you get why. Like in this movie, 3 movies later, you're like, oh, I now understand Guardians 1 Rocket better because of this movie. And that to me shows it's like, it has a good ending. And then he creates a family, right? Like the Guardians all move on, but he makes a new family there. I think that's a really satisfying ending. And I think Gunn also knew that he was leaving. And so he's like tying up all the loose ends.
Yeah. Dude, also, I think the context of the movie and James Gunn in particular, dude, it easily his most personal movie, like easily. All that context, and I saw some interview of him talking about his big fallout with Marvel and how he felt like nobody loved him, nobody cared for him and stuff like that. And then when he gets fired at like this lowest point of his life, all of that like the love he felt he was like, for the first time, he was like, I feel loved by people. Yeah. Dude, that hits so much harder when you compare first scene Rocket has in Guardians 1 to end. Oh, yeah. It's so beautiful, dude. No, honestly, it's really
that's what I'm saying. Like, you think about movies in that scene, you're like, whoa, like that's so emotional, that's so really good. 100%. And then you put it into real life.
There's a world where Guardians 3 is 1 for you.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there is.
That's crazy. I agree. I definitely think Gamora, again, well, I guess we'll never really know how much of that we can blame on him, because it's like how much he had and then bringing Gamora back in Endgame. That's super tough. Granted, I think he handles it about as well as he could have.
As well as you could, but like, it's not optimal, right?
It's still not like phenomenal, especially when it's like, when it's like Gamora's the next most important Guardian in the first 2 movies, and then it's like she becomes the least important Guardian in the third one.
Disposable, like not even really a character anymore.
Like Mantis, infinitely way more important.
Even
infinitely way
like
more
Yondu
important.
and
Nebula,
yeah, that's
okay.
Nebula, like,
is Yondu a better character in the Guardians franchise than Gamora?
Oh, if I'm really looking at it, yes.
I might agree, dude. I might agree.
Because, like, I'm thinking about
I
all
might agree,
movies,
though.
And then you even see, like, this is where Yondu shines is in Guardians 2, which you didn't really
100%,
mention.
100%.
Is that because Peter doesn't have, it focuses on his fatherhood and his origins, because his father kind of rejects him and kills his mom, which Yondu fills that role of, like, it makes him a better human being to be a father. I think that is, like, really cool.
Dude, one of the shining stars of the Guardians, the last 2 movies, if you include Avengers stuff, is how much better Mantis got.
Yes.
I think Mantis, again, a little annoying in Guardians 2. Funny for sure, her and Drax, including the Avengers. Guardians 3, I'm like, dude, I love Mantis. The Christmas special.
Dude, that's what makes her
Mantis
good.
slaps, dude.
No,
Mantis slaps.
if someone doesn't like the Mantis going into Guardians 3, they have to go back and watch it. You
100%.
just need more time with her. Like, that's
100%.
what it is.
Okay, let's talk about Suicide Squad. I'll talk about Suicide Squad first. Suicide Squad, the movie that just keeps getting better and better for me. Going back to what you were saying about making the D-list characters great. Yes. Love them, dude. Freaking Bloodsport, Polka Dot Man, Peacemaker. Dude, Ratcatcher 2, dude. Love Ratcatcher 2 to death.
King Shark is like the perfect role. He's not Drax, but he's like a combination of Drax.
Drax and Groot, kind of. Yeah, very much as.
Like he puts that in there. What I do like is that it doesn't shy away from being a sequel to the other Suicide Squad.
For sure.
It takes all of the worst parts of that and is like, let's make fun of that.
Yeah.
When Waller's like, he was raised to be a killer by his dad, and then they pull Peacemaker. He's like, he was raised to be a killer by his dad, and El Chapo's just like, Are you having a laugh? Like, that's like one of the funniest like call-outs directly of like, that was a bad
and dude, I think one of the huge things I like about Suicide Squad is the fact that they obviously, you know, kill off Boomerang Mang, all those nerds. Dude, I think it's a good movie for Rick Flag, dude. Yes. And Rick Flag was a character who I was like, in the first movie, I'm like,
this guy sucks.
This guy sucks. He's so buns. And it would have been so easy for them to just complete clean slate. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you keep Viola Davis because she's Viola Davis. But it's like completely clean slate. Margot Robbie, obviously, like, you can tell there's sauce there even in the first movie. And I think this just perfected it. She's way better in this than she is in her own movie in Birds of Prey and the Fantabulistic Emancipation of Harley Quinn or something like that. Rick Flag and Harley Quinn especially, bringing them back, perfecting them, having them work with all the other people. Love it, dude. Love it.
Why I have Guardians 3 over this is because I think it is a waste of Starro, the villain.
That's like the big reason for it?
Yeah, okay, hear me out. I think that you go into a Starro movie and you're like, oh, I'm going to get my character that I really like fighting against another hero, and there's going to be a dynamic between that. The fact that they omit that, I was a little bit upset. And I do think that there was a really easy out. They could have just starred the original, like, Suicide Squad that died in Team 1. And
you wanted, like, direct mind control fight and stuff like that.
And I think that that's a waste of Starro because,
interesting.
Like, why do you have him do it if he's just there to be, like, a big, giant monster?
I think it might work better if Starro was not, like, you know, mind controlling Captain Boomerang and all these guys from the original. If anything, it puts more attention on Starro rather than like the people that.
But then why do you have Starro? Like, why is it even Starro?
Opposed to like some other kaiju.
Yeah.
I mean, I think just the ability to mind control, I guess you could say, like it's obviously a lot more intimidating of a fight rather than if it was like if they were fighting like the big Godzilla thing from Superman. And I think that's boring. I think that's really boring for sure. I mean, and I like the even going while we're talking about Starro. I'm not too familiar with Starro from anything else, like shows or comics or anything like that. I like the route they go with, like, almost not making it like this evil entity of, you know, I was happy drifting among the stars. Yeah. I think that's a great line. Making, like, the government.
Yeah.
The real bad guys. How do you feel about that?
So played out.
Government.
It's just so played out. I don't know. I think that the best parts of the Suicide Squad had nothing to do with the villains. I think that instead of that being an active, like, it doesn't really matter, could enrich the characters, I think of it as a hindrance just because I don't think they make any sense together. And then the government being, like, the bad guy. Who could have guessed? The government that implanted, like, kill devices in people's heads, they were the bad guys the whole time. So it's the only thing. I do think that this movie has the most sauce out of any of the movies that he makes. It's unique. It's real. Like, I think that Harley and that whole scene is the cool. Like, that's the hallway scene that I want to see. Right? Yeah. Like, that's so
phenomenal.
Oh
that's
my
phenomenal.
gosh! Like that is the best. Phenomenal. Like, it's just so cool the way that it looks. It's uniquely tied to that character. I think Harley's just so good.
Dude, so many scenes in this movie to where it's almost like just banger for banger, dude. The freaking shoot off between Bloodsport and Peacemaker, dude, that's freaking amazing. It's so, dude,
and then the way that it ends, like, I use smaller bullets. And
dude,
then it just goes
back at the end.
It's
let's
so cool.
go,
it's
dude. Let's
so awesome.
go.
I love it. Like,
it's
really good writing, and I love every single part of that.
Score-wise, it's my favorite score of a James Gunn film by far. The freaking the Ratism theme that plays at the end, dude. Dude, I'll listen to that just. Yeah. Daily life, dude. That's such a banger. The Taika cameo as Ratcatcher 1. Love that scene, dude. All that stuff. The music for the whole finale. Love that scene. I'm trying to think. Yeah. I'm trying to think about what other stuff.
The bomb where you can, like, say Peacemaker, like, in between there.
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny. I think that, Gunn was having a good time making this film, and he was, like, very intentional about, like, the last movie was bad because it took itself too seriously. Let's be different. But doesn't, like, sacrifice quality of film. Very impressed. This is also the only film that I didn't see in theaters because it was, like, the COVID one where, like, it came out simultaneously. Yeah. And then I think it's so perfect because he even pulled out Pete Davidson for this too. Like, you're like, no, Pete Davidson's gonna be your main character. You're like, what can't this guy do? And then
Don't worry,
just
we
to
got
kill
you.
him off, like
We got you.
I think a lot of people were very satisfied by that too. Like, it wasn't like, why is Pete Davidson in this? Like, let's. But it's James Gunn. I'll give it a shot. You know what I mean?
Rumor has it, freaking John Cena's still walking around in the Peacemaker suit. Still walking around. I think I saw him at Shake Shack last week.
And that might be one of the best castings that he's ever done. You want to move to 1?
Number 1, pretty self-explanatory. Guardians 1.
Guardians 1.
Yeah.
This movie is special. This movie is. I was trying to like go back MCU history for this. This is the peak of the MCU. Like after this, it either like tries to be this movie, right? So Ragnarok is just trying to like be this movie. Infinity War is its own thing, and like Endgame, they're roller coasters, they're not movies. But then everything else is building to like, this is the peak. You come out of this movie, you're like, I love all 6 of these characters, and you're like, I never heard of these people.
Yeah.
The fact that the Haunted House is now a Guardians of the Galaxy movie is the most insane thing ever. If you would have told people this 20 years ago, they would have been like, who? So I'm such a big fan of this movie. I walked out of this movie and I was like, that was so fun, while also telling a good story. You don't have the like Marvel MCU problems that you have at this time, where it's like terrible villain, you like start with that, and like big CGI like boss.
Yeah, Ronan's not great. We'll get that out of the way. Really, the only low point of the movie, and I know we've talked about he doesn't have to be great, and I agree with that. Like, the low point of the movie for sure, he doesn't necessarily detract from the movie, his existence. He's and especially like when you have all these characters to set up, you're not gonna have time to do a villain, which is like probably the smart choice.
Yeah.
I mean, same way you could point to like a lot of other Red Skull's not great, and Ant-Man 1 villains not great.
But there's a difference, because with him, he gets thrown into this like juxtaposition world of like the Guardians are like so developed people, and his like presence of being a boring villain gets dragged up because they dance battle for the universe. Yeah. Like, that is
by contrast,
like
it makes them
better.
crazier. Yeah.
So like that's what a villain should do, and I was just very impressed by like, you walk out of that movie and you're like, yeah, we had a dance battle to end the galaxy, and then Drax comes back to it later. It's just so cool and so unique, and like you love these characters out of it. Like, people. The person that you would have came out and like, I don't really know much about Groot, is like the one that dies. So like every person gets their moment. Yeah. And then you're like, whoa, this is like something I really like. And if you walk out of that theater, you talk to 5 people, they probably all have like 5 different favorite characters.
Every one of the best cast, I think, superhero films of all time. It is insane how good everyone is.
Oh yeah.
I think for me, dude, I'm trying to even find the highlights, dude. Chris Pratt, obviously.
The jailbreak scene is like insane.
Phenomenal. Dave Bautista, obviously great.
I didn't even realize Bradley Cooper was Rocket the whole time, because he does such a good job. Yeah. I mean, this is the one movie where you'd be like, Bradley Cooper is clearly in a soundstage, not in the room with them. Yeah. But I still think he does a really good job, and it's supposed to be kind of a cartoon, like in that sense. Like I said, like he's trying to do comic book movies, not movies about comic book characters, and so it feels like a raccoon who can talk. Like, it doesn't feel like a realistic raccoon, and it kind of switches that to Guardians 3, but that's for a different thing. But yeah, every single person does an amazing job. The fact that Vin Diesel is Groot is just so random but great. Yeah. Yeah, I think that there's so many parts of this movie that are really good, and it pushes forward the MCU timeline. Yeah. Like, the fact that this movie is that good and is so important to that.
It's big for Infinity Stones.
It's so
big for Infinity Stones.
And you see the Gunn like wrote that in like 3 minutes or whatever.
Insane.
He's a genius.
I feel like leading up to this movie, there was a lot of talk about Infinity Stones. Yeah. Oh, they're building to Infinity Stones, Thanos. But this was the first one to be like, okay, this is what they are. This is what's happening. Yeah. And it's like, these are the ones you've seen already. So it got you so much more excited for Thanos and all the future. Hot take, I don't think so to say best movie soundtrack of all time.
Oh, dude. People walked to that movie, they're like, oh, I love
to this day, dude.
I still play it.
Dude, even just like walking down the street, you hear like at parties people are playing this music. You've never heard these songs before. It's crazy. It is wild. I'm sure like original version of Hooked on a Feeling, this version just is outstreamed, way more popular than all that stuff now, all because of this movie. Almost every single song in this movie, banger, insane. all the more relevant.
And the
now.
way that it's used in the movie,
Yeah.
it's a space like pirate movie, and the way we get it is by Peter's Walkman is like a stroke of genius that he didn't need to add, but he did because he just thought about it that deeply and he loved the character that much. Like, I don't think that we're gonna get a movie that like had thought about these things in a certain way, because now Gunn has expectations where with that he was just doing a good job and he had no expectations. He had no like, you need to pull in Nathan Fillion anymore. Like, it was just him making a movie that he really wanted to make with characters he loved. And because of that, in an era where the MCU was like still firing on all cylinders and then topped it, I don't know if we ever get something like this.
And Marvel's been trying that, bringing in more like niche, like art house directors. It hasn't gone phenomenally for them. I think Marvel has a little more time letting go of control these days, especially with people like that. And James Gunn already doing that. I was just talking the other day. Insane. One of the first movies greenlit in this universe is a Mike Flanagan Clayface movie.
So crazy.
That is before Batman. That is insane, dude.
Yeah.
That is insane. That's like if the third MCU movie was like a Rhino movie from Spider-Man. Iron Man, Captain America, Rhino. What is happening?
And that's what I think comic book fans specifically want. They want niche comic book things that we haven't seen before. We've seen 100 versions of Superman. We've seen 100 versions of Batman. Within that like three like year period of like when Joker came out, we saw like Batman's parents die like 10 times. We don't need to see that anymore. None of this comes from like I'm a better filmmaker or anything, because I'm not.
Thanks for clearing that up.
Yeah.
We were all wondering.
I know.
Is this guy better than James Gunn?
I come off as like such a jerk sometimes because I'm very critical, and I'm like, I have to be very big. No, I do not like think that just about anything in my life.
That's the video. Thanks so much for watching, Brooklanders. If you want to see more of Kay, like this video. If you never want to see him again, comment that and you'll never see him again.
Yeah, I'm ready for that.
All right, video is over.